not that. I'm big too, bro.
You gotta look like me, man.
Okay, whatever.
Your heart ain't there. Let me look at you stalking my wife?
I'm not stalking anybody.
My wife?
No.
I seen you sitting in my house at 5 this morning.
This right here, yep. Service summons. Legal, bro. Legal.
These people are at our house.
Yes. Doing a
already
summons.
been served
Could you
papers.
please get out my face, sir?
You on
You've
my block.
already been served
So?
papers.
You
Come
on my
over.
block.
Come on, let's go.
Listen to your wife, bro. Thank you. Hi.
You on my block.
These people have harassed us.
That's it.
Yes, Miss.
He has resigned in
Voncelle.
lieu of being fired from the VA for his treatment of employees.
Ladies and gentlemen, running video on a public street from a cell phone is perfectly lawful in Maryland. This is particularly true when what you are doing is documenting your attempts to serve process on a government employee, folks. That's the law. Look right here. That's simple, right? Well, I guess not. This is a call to all veterans to come together at the ballot and by supporting the Bozgoz family in every way you can think of during this litigation. When you expose corruption and ADA violations at the VA, they have an orchestrated, treasonous team of staff, lawyers, and judges who conspire to gaslight you and to bring criminal charges against you. Now, Voncelle James did exactly that by lying about Robert and Margaret Bozgoz's lawful attempts to complete service on her. This was even as Ms. Bozgoz was discussing the fact that she was about to serve her with VA security officer Darryl Blackwell, who allegedly was coordinating all of this with her. He was aware that they were trying to serve her, and she had rejected service on the 2nd of June, so they were back at her house on the 6th of June. They never entered her property, and the process server is her son. He threw it at the end of the driveway. Okay? That's that. Now, keep in mind that when he returned on the 6th of June, Voncelle James said, "I've got a restraining order on you." Okay? But that's impossible because she didn't even apply for a TRO until after that. So she already knew, by and through her association of VA cronies, that they had an order ready and waiting for her whilst pretending to negotiate service of process with Blackwell on the other hand, with the Bozgoz family. This is despicable conduct, and it must be called out for our veterans to see and to take action in any legal way possible to go at these people. They are causing harm to service people who have risked their lives for this country. Now keep in mind that Attorney Bozgoz, actually he's not an attorney for VA, he's an analyst, but he was a judge advocate general attorney. He actually suffered a stroke working for these abusers, and he has PTSD, and Margaret Bozgoz is his ADA advocate as a matter of law. But they don't care about any of that, all right? So, not only were they attempting to use lawful means to sue her, but the court forgot the fact that running video on a public street from a cell phone is perfectly lawful in Maryland. So, said that already. But apparently the court didn't get it, so I'm going to say it one more time. So the court incorrectly forced the Bozgoz family to take down a video of their son being harassed by Miss James' husband when he tried to serve the documents. Now, at all points in time, the video was shot from a public street and did not invade into the interior of the James home or anything like that. So the Supreme Court of Maryland must concur that the video was completely lawful. Nonetheless, the Maryland courts continued to ignore these facts and law, and even went so far as to dismiss their son Lance's complaint against Voncelle James, while allowing her to keep pushing hers against them, while telling lies that include the allegation that Ms. Bozgoz was present at the car with her son and husband, when in fact she was at home. James also falsely claimed that Ms. Bozgoz was probably heavily armed. And most importantly, she lied and said that Lance had gone onto her property when in point of fact he did not. He dropped the documents in her line of vision at the end of her driveway. I saw the video, so I saw it with my own two eyes, guys. Okay? So, why is she evading service? That's the question. What gives her that right? The VA and its cronies give her that right. All right? This is a public picture, just as the front of the James house is a publicly viewable landscape pursuant to law. Now, and that is the law, because otherwise Voncelle James would have come after me, but she didn't have anything on me. Okay? Don't even try it. Now, all this maneuvering is set to put Ms. Bozgoz and her husband up to do some jail time. Or maybe even on a good day, just get them shot and killed. That's one way to make the problem go away, right? You know? And this dossier of hatred is the VA modus operandi, folks. And keep in mind, again, that Mr. Bozgoz is a former JAG attorney. This is treasonous conduct, mind you. Now, furthermore, the Bozgoz family has never waived the temporary peace order hearing that resulted from all this nonsense, okay? But the court went right through that and stepped forward into a final hearing. But the waiver is required. You can see it right there in the statute. But, oh, never mind that. You know, we've got our cronies in place, so we'll just kind of rush right on through here and find a way to put these people in jail, which is what they tend to do. That's what they try to do every time. So, let's move on to part 2. Just to be clear, what did the judge do again now? Among other things, the criminal court is still allowing Voncelle James's bogus case to go forward against the Bozgoz family. And the criminal court is tossing all of Lance's claims and even refused to respond to any of the requested demands for findings of fact and conclusions of law. He just wrote, denied. Now then, plaintiff Bozgoz respectfully asked him why he disrespected the law. So maybe this time he will just double stamp denied twice and get rid of their request for review of that. And let's move on to part 3 then. How is their federal whistleblower suit progressing? Well, first of all, it might be helpful if Judge Amy B. Jackson, the same judge from the Manafort Mueller hearings, would allow Robert Bozgoz the basic privilege to electronically file his documents in ECF Pacer. This is the preferred method anyway in federal court. They've been pushing it since the late 90s, okay? And I have never been denied that privilege in approximately 5 federal cases that I've been involved in as a litigant since I was no longer a licensed federal attorney. This makes no sense, people. Why is this happening to them? Okay? So, anyway, if they can get a fair hearing in the federal venue, Voncelle James admitted violating the act in her own bogus criminal case against the plaintiffs. I have the audio right here. Take a listen to some of the salient portions. Later on, I'll post the whole thing. That's it for now. Let's see what happens. There are more court hearings scheduled this week. And veterans will be united against all of this outright criminality.
Okay, so explain to me, tell me the story about what happened this morning and why you need protection from both these folks.
He showed up to my house this morning. My husband gets up at about a little bit before 5 a.m. for his prayers. He said he noticed that a van was out there, didn't think anything of it. This morning as I was getting ready for work, I received a text from my supervisor. She informed me that another one of my employees was getting questioned by Mr. Bozgoz, asking if I would be reporting to work today. As part of that text, I also asked my boss if there was any other information. She said no. So I proceeded to get ready for work, went in my car, and I noticed that the gray Honda Odyssey was outside. As I noticed the gray Honda Odyssey was outside, I asked my husband, since I know he gets up early, if he noticed that this van was right outside of our house. And he said, yeah, I noticed it earlier, but I didn't think anything of it. So I kind of sat my bags down, and as I was sitting my bags down, a gentleman approached our driveway. He came up into the driveway. My husband proceeded to the driveway, and he asked him who he was. The gentleman said he was there to serve papers, and then when the driver rolled down the window, I noticed that it was Mr. Bozgoz. I said, that is my ex-employee who resigned. Let's just go in and call the police. And my husband said, he does not have any right to be on our property. And I agreed, and so the gentleman and my husband were face to face. I stood in between my husband, and I said, no, we're not going to do this. Whatever happens, we need to call the police, get a police report, get someone here, because I don't know what's going to take place. So that ensued. Mr. Bozgoz was there, tape recording. I told him that he had no right to tape record me, my husband, my property, any of those things. He proceeded to tape record. He and the gentleman that was with him said that Robert Bozgoz was his father. I didn't know any of that. So then they dropped off a package of information and they drove off.